Hello everyone, I'm KuroTCG, and today I'll be showcasing Blue-Black Sakazuki. We'll be going over the deck profile, tips, and matchups. Here's my current deck list. If you've been following me, this isn't the list I took to the LA Regionals. However, I believe this iteration I would have took instead after playing through the tournament and more testing. If you want to play Sakazuki, I believe this is the core of the deck. There's also other versions that are focused on boss monsters, however, I personally like the mid-range style instead. Here's some cards you can consider to add. The great thing about this deck is all these cards are good options, so feel free to add what you prefer. So what does Sakazuki do? Once per turn, you can discard one card to draw one card. And when attacking, you can give one of your opponent's character -1 cost. This leader has an innate ability to see 2 cards per turn and a cost reduction that is free and it helps extend your removal combos. So when playing this deck, you want to think of 2 main things: how to efficiently clear your opponent's board while building your own, and what cards to cycle to shape your hand for later turns. You want to think at least 2 turns ahead and what you need. Determine your opponent's curve and attacks and shape your hand in that way. On to our reducers of the deck. We have 4-cost Kuan, a really good card because of his ability to replace himself as he draws a card for us when played. Also acts as a potent cost reducer if he sticks to the board, and in some matchups can be single-handedly won if he stays on board. On to our 2k counters. Zoro, on-play cost reduction, which can come in clutch when we don't have access to our other reducers. Tashigi, played for a similar reason as Zoro. Being a 3-cost character means she can be played as a body on turn 2 if we have no better play. She can also be recurred by Rebecca and Mancheri, allowing us to stock up on 2k counters in the late game. Hina, ability of on-play -4 cost to an opposing character. This extends our reach of removal while playing a 5k body. Next, we have Great Eruption, an efficient cost reducer that replaces itself in hand, allowing us to combo into our removal without overcommitting resources. Also has a nifty trigger that can come in clutch when the opponent is running out of steam. Activating this trigger could be crucial in the late game. Ice Age, mainly included in this deck so we can extend our reach to bigger characters. Also has a cool trigger that can come in clutch by removing a 3-cost or lower character on the board. Now we have our removal pieces. Our main removal of the deck is Rabluchi. On play, return 3 cards to the bottom of the deck and pop a 2-cost or lower character and a 1-cost or lower character. A little tip with this guy is that you always want to send back events as they can't be recurred or cards that cannot be returned by Rebecca or Mancheri. 7-cost Barcelino. One of our high-cost characters in the deck has a strong stat line of being 7-cost 8k that can bot deck any 4-cost or lower character when played. Houndblaze, insane card for the deck, gives the deck a cheap answer to early game threats as well as converting cards like Brand New and Hina into attackers. Also added that this card sends characters to the bottom, which means characters with on-KO abilities cannot activate, for example, Magellan or Perospero. This is one of the few cards in the game that allows you to cheat your Dawn, as this card costs 2 Dawn but provides 3000 power. Moving on to our blockers and engine, we have 4-cost Barcelino. He has been a core for black decks since its iteration, a 4-cost 5k power with a blocker ability. He also has another ability that is active during an opponent's turn, which makes him immune to getting KO'd from abilities, as well as 6000 power character. And being a 6000 power blocker allows us to mitigate a lot of early aggression, as it essentially converts our leader to 6000 for 1 attack. Sabo, mainly a tech against the yellow matchup. Being a 5-cost blocker means that he cannot be tapped by Amaru, and his on-play ability gives our board KO immunity from abilities, which means we can protect our board from Thunderbolt. This card can also be recurred by Rebecca and Mancheri, and being a 6000 power character, which means that he can be a potential character, and he cycles 2 cards into your deck, which allows you to dig deeper and get rid of cards that we don't need. Rebecca, a 4-cost character that has a poor stat line for a blocker but compensates for its insane ability to recur any black 3 to 7 cost character back to your hand and play a black 3-cost or lower character from your hand. Rebecca can add key cards like Hina and Lucci, or blockers like Saba and Barcelino if you want to wall up, or if you want to develop your board, you can add a card like Kuzan without going minus in hand. Our engine. Mancheri acts as an additional copy to any of our 3 to 7 cost characters in our deck. She can be played aggressively against decks with little to no removal and will act as a pseudo blocker. Brand new, our only searcher in the deck, able to find several key pieces in our deck and fill up our trash in the early game. Blue Hina, similar to Brand New and Kuzan, Hina is another card that is able to replace itself in hand, but with a condition. Being that we need to have 5 or less cards in the hand, she allows us to not minus in hand when going first, as we don't go -1 card in card advantage when developing Hina in our hand. She is also a body that can be buffed to 7,000 by Helmblaze. 10 cost Kaido. This card is really good against decks like Yellow and L. He refills our hand and acts as a beat stick that can trade over board. And in any scenario where the board stays even or if we're ahead, playing this card as a 12,000 body and drawing 4 cards will most likely win us the game. Moving on to our main combo of the deck. We will most likely be looking for these 3 cards every game. Here's our combo sequence. First, apply 1- cost with our lead attack. Then for 4 Dawn, Rebecca grabs Hina or Lucci. Then you can play Hina off your Rebecca second effect to reduce a character by -4, and the last step is you play Lucci to KO the reduced characters. With this combo, you're able to remove 1 5-cost character or lower character and a 1 3 cost or lower character. Or if you want to remove a 7 cost, you can do that. And with other reducers, you're able to reach higher numbers that will put you ahead in board. So first or second, this deck is super flexible, and in that case, you're able to take your opponent's optimal curve. First and second each have key turns. Going first, you can play 7 cost Barcelona on curve and play your main combo with a reducer on turn 5. Going second, you can play 4 cost Kuzan or Barcelona on curve and play your main combo on turn 4. OP05 matchups, Purple Luffy. This is a favorite matchup. You want to remove every threat. You want to Helmblaze Magellan. You want to go first, as you don't want them to have their insane curve of ramp 4 cost, ramp into Poly and Kaido, or double 5 drop. Don't fall prey to Poly, aka playing Kuzan unless they play ulti page 1 combo on their turn 2 going first. The Mirror. This is a very hard matchup. The better efficient soccer player wins. Helmblaze is really good in this matchup as he can bottom deck Hinas or key cards, whatever they need, based on whatever they have in trash. Be wary of getting down to low life. This is a very complex matchup, so you have to get as many reps as you can in. And you want to go second in this matchup, as you can draw an extra card. Enel. This can be a favored or even matchup. You want to remove every threat while developing a wide board. This is a very grinding matchup, so you have to be patient. Go first to take their preferred curve, aka them playing Gadatsu on curve and 7 cost NL and 7 cost Big Mom on curve. If they play 7 cost NL, you have to remove it. If you do not remove it, you will lose. This card is a sticky card that will stick every turn with its ability that they can remove a life to prevent them from leaving the board. If you're going second and Enel chose not to attack, do not play Kuzan. You will be punished by Gadatsu. Katakuri. This is a very hard matchup, probably the worst matchup I don't want to see. You're likely to run into more triggers the first life. They have aggressive 7k attacks early to mid game, and be sure not to get down to low life due to Thunderbolt and Amaro combo. Kuzan and Barcelona are very good. Barcelona early game can mitigate damage, and Kuzan is a huge threat for them as it requires a finite resource to remove it if they don't starve you, aka Thunderbolt, and you want to go second in this matchup. Red Green Law. This is a favorite matchup. You want to hard mulligan for Rob Lucci, and you want to play him as soon as you can to clear their board to make it harder for them to shambles. If you cannot find Lucci, you can play Kuzan and use Helmblaze to combo with him. And you want to go second as Law wants to go second because they want to draw an extra card so they can shambles easily. Red Purple Luffy. This is an even matchup. 4 cost Kuzan is really good in this matchup as he can be a setup to remove their big bodies, aka Whitebeard and 10 cost Luffy. Early game, if you're able to guard 6,000 hits, you should. As late game, they will be throwing higher damage hits, which you cannot guard easily. You want to be wary of the 9 cost Whitebeard spam and 10 cost Luffy finisher, and in this matchup, you want to go first. Zoro. This is an even matchup. In this matchup, if you do not find Lucci, you will lose. This matchup is very hard if you don't have Lucci and Helm Blazes, so you want to mulligan for that. You can use Rebecca in this matchup to recur Lucci and 2-kit counter. Great Eruption in this matchup is dead in hand, therefore you can use one Dawn to draw a card or just cycle throw away with your leader effect. And in this matchup, you want to go first to mitigate their aggression. Edward Newgate. And even in a hard matchup, he's a 6k leader and he plays several rushers, which makes this matchup hard. In this matchup, you must see 4-cost Barcelino to mitigate Early's damage. If you can develop a 7-cost Barcelino in this matchup, he will serve as a beater each turn if you can. Against Whitebeard, they develop 1 threat per turn, so if you're able to answer each threat while staying safe, this matchup can be easy. Conclusion. In my opinion, this is the best deck in format. It has a simple game plan with a high skill representation. Based on overseas results, the most dominant deck to this day. And that concludes my deck profile, and thank you for watching.